Hey everybody, it's Tyler with Gaia Force Gaming, and you guys have been asking for this one for a while. So I am here today doing a deck profile for Crossheart. This past weekend was TCG Con Tampa. I did end up going, but just for one day. I didn't get to go for both days. I couldn't get off both days at work, so I made the trip up to Tampa in the morning. Just drove up with a buddy, and a lot of our locals were there with us, and then we drove back the same night. I played in 1-1K, and I did end up getting top 8 with this deck, going X1, ending 6th place. So, I mean, I'm pretty proud of that performance, especially with Crossheart. Crossheart proper. I believe I was the only player playing Crossheart. There were a couple Hunters players. Just before we start, I just want to say top 8 for this event was super diverse. There were 7 different decks in top 8. 2 Shine, Hunters, a Black War Greymon, a Belfie, a Crossheart, a Red Hybrid, and a Machine Dramon deck. So that was crazy diverse. But I guess without further ado, let me talk about the deck list, and then I'll talk a little bit about matchups. And yeah, we'll get that going. So first things first, the eggs. I don't think it's any surprise we run 4 Pikmons. Yeah, it's the only egg to run in Crossheart, so super easy choice. If when attacking, if you have Crossheart in your traits, you draw a card. And then for the rookies, some of these, it's going to make sense. We got 4 of the Shoutmon, 4 of the Starmon, 4 of the Sparrowmon. So super easy choices here. Just want max rookies. I did end up going, I had a flex spot. I did end up going with the Shoutmon Sarsword. I'll explain my reasoning for that and how I liked it as we go on. I'll lay out the deck list and I'll talk about some of the choices, some of the flex spots, what you can do. But I did go with the Starsword as a rookie slot and a cross slot, I guess. The deck building for this deck is a little weird because it's not just standard ratios. Some of your ratios are taken up by like what you're crossing into. So 13 rookies, 12 really, maybe even less than that if you're really thinking about it in terms of these are resources to draw cards, to do digi-crossing, etc. For level 4s, again, obvious choices. We have 4 Ballista, 4 Derulo, and again, more obvious choices. For some of the crosses, we have 4 Cross 3 and a single Cross 4. You can only run 1 Cross 4. If you could run more, I would run this thing at 4. It is busted. And then to fill out our level 4 slots, I did run 2 of the Shoutmon King version, the one from BT12, and a single Shoutmon King version from BT10, the secret rare from BT10. Again, I'll go over choices after I lay out the whole thing. For level 5s, we have 2 of the Omni Shout from BT10 and 2 Cross 5. For level 6s, we have 2 Zeeg Greymon and 2 Cross 7. I did run a single level 7 in Cross 7 Superior mode. Guy, I definitely have something to say about this when we get to it. And then for Tamers, I went 4 Taiki. Again, obvious choice in this deck. I did go 4 of the Triple Tamer, which in the past I've run 3. Some people go as low as 2, but I think just having more of the Digi-Cross Tamers is super important. It also just really speeds you up. I went 2 Akari and 2 of the BT12 Taiki. Alright, so this is the list. This is what I settled on. I wouldn't say there's anything I would change, but there are things you can change for sure. So let's start with some of the choices. I did opt in to play the Tamers Taiki and the Tamer King versions. The reason I did this is with King version, being able to play Taiki is really beneficial. Playing this one for free is way better. And then you have this just to round out so that you don't miss out on that effect. His inheritable comes out a lot less unless you end up crossing him under himself or crossing him or using him under a Zeeg if you evolve over something with this. Just because they need save in their text, and your crosses themselves don't have save in their text, but other stuff does. So I did go with 2 of these, and I bumped up the Taiki count to make that happen more often. It did come up. There's a lot of times where you put your opponent to 1 by crossing this for 3. It comes up as another rusher because you can put the Shoutmon under it, play a Taiki for free, swing for a check. You get the Shoutmon back, even though it doesn't have material save. It saves itself plus something from trash. That came up a couple times to where I didn't see a rush Shoutmon, but there was one in security that they hit. I was able to get it back with this effect, his on deletion. So I really did like that. As other choices, this Taiki accelerates your hand, just filters your deck, being able to put something with save under it to draw a card at the start of turn, or at the start of main. Same effect as this, but you gain a memory from this as well, and this is any cross heart, so this is a much better card, but you can't play it for free. Also, suspending this to Digivolve did come up. There were times where I had a cross 5 left over on the board, or a Omni Shout that I had to Digivolve to pop a couple small things. I was able to evolve into the Z using the Taiki to gain memory back. The Z would unsuspend, sometimes gain memory back for them having 2 bodies on board. It was just this deck is just filled with little incremental advantages that you can kind of set yourself up for. I did opt to play the Superior mode. I think it's a great answer to both Black War Greymon, or War Greymon in general, just tons of protection, and also Machine Dramon. I did play both decks, and I did use it against both decks. It's a great advantage. It is just an ultimate silver bullet in some cases, and worst case scenario, if you don't need it, just throw it under this boy and draw a card. Not a big deal. The Star Sword I ended up going with, I was running 2 Armon for a little bit. I was running a 3rd Taiki. I was running a BT1 tie. It's a flex spot. Like, realistically, I would say that both of these can become your choice of anything, any flavor of your choice, realistically. There's an argument to run 3 cross 7s, but in certain matchups, like in the Hunters matchup, if you put too many sources under a cross, you just get punished so hard when they bounce you. Same if you run into Ulforce, which isn't super prevalent anymore, which I'm really thankful for. But anyway, I opted for Akaris because if your opponent is running Psychmon, you need an answer to it. You need to either slam the Derulo, play the Akari to kill it, etc. That's also where Star Sword comes up. Just being able to out it for 5 isn't that bad. Just lots of little things. But yeah, I really love this list. I think it's super aggressive. I think if you learn how to play it and you learn to navigate it well, it's really rewarding. I guess we'll talk about matchups. Since I kind of talked about some of the choices, why I chose to do them, my matchups, and what cards were really like the best cards in those matchups. So, round 1, I did play Belphimon. I have a lot of practice against Belphimon as George is a local to me, and game 1, I just went really fast. He established Psychmon so early, so quickly, and I couldn't get around it game 1, but I was able to, like, he put Psych in the back. I Digicrossed into this Shoutmon with Omni Shout under it, and like I think the Piercing, or maybe it was the Derulo for minus checks, or minus to security, just to search up some cards. He got the Psychmon out. We're just going back and forth, but I evolved over this Shout with with another Omni Shout, if I remember correctly. So I had an Omni Shout under it, the other Omni Shout above it. I got to pop one thing, so I popped a Psych. He established another one. So then I evolved into the Z Greymon the following turn, unsuspended. I used one of these Taikis to gain memory back, but I lost all my inheritables because you're no longer have Shoutmon in your name. But then I evolved into a Shoutmon Cross 7, was able to keep turn with the memory I gained from Zeeg and gained back from these, or reduced it with these, etc. And I just had like security +2. I had all of my inheritables. I had the piercing. I had blocker. It was sick. That's how I won game 1. Game 2, he went too fast. I couldn't win. Game 3, I just kept him off 7 cards in his hand. He resolved 3 sleep modes into rage modes against me, but I never let him get down to 6 cards. I was just able to kind of answer it on the following turn with a cross 7 or a superior mode, I believe, at one point, and just kind of rush in, get under him, get over him, get under him, get it where I could. So I did win round 1, 2-1 against Belfi. It was a really good matchup. Yeah. So that was round 1. Round 2. What did I play in round 2? Oof, hold on. This is the one that I always forget the order of what I played stuff, but I have it in my notes. I came prepared. Prepared. Okay. Oh. Round 2 I played Machine Dramon. He flipped the egg. I was super nervous because Machine Dramon, if they establish their big stack, you just can't out it without this superior mode. Like, honestly, wholeheartedly, you just almost always cannot go fast enough once they have that. Blocker, reboot, redirect, trash a security, kill a 3-cost tamer, all those cool effects. But game 1, he opened slow and I opened fast. So, pedal to the metal, boom, boom. Game 2, I opened a superior mode and I said to myself, I will let him get the perfect stack. I will let him commit all of his cards to this just god Chaos X stack. And boy howdy did he. He had a Chaos Dramon X fully kitted out with like 22 sources, something ridiculous. It was insane. And I just raised the Shoutmon from raising. I used my trash and my tamers. I played it for 6 or 7. I don't know. It was a lot, but I didn't care because it bottom decked everything. And yeah, that was all she wrote. I just ended up getting it from there. Super great out. It just answers Machine Dramon. Probably the only thing in the deck that really can efficiently. So that was round 2. I won that 2-0. So then in round 3, I did play a different local. One of the locals, Dan, he was playing Shine Greymon with yellow base, yellow eggs, and he did the shine things, you know? He did the burst mode. He poked me and he got me down. I didn't see Rush Shoutmon at all game 1. It was pretty close game 1. Game 2, he just did the big 4 or 5 turn, just beat me down. But it was a good match. I was glad to see him pop off. He ended up second that day, so that was really cool to see a local do it to him. Round 4 we're on now. I did play a version of Security Control, Security Zoo. So Security Control, super comfortable matchup, not worried about. I have very little interaction other than when I do swing, so pretty cool. Security Zoo, a little scarier. That's the version where they have a bunch of security Digimon that pop out. Geo Greymons, Cordramons, Meikumons, etc., and they do a lot of recovering. Their main removal is still Chaos D-Grade and Lonky, which are great removal against Crossheart because I don't get to save anything. I did end up taking it 2-0 just by making smart, methodical plays, trying to let him not get as much advantage as I had. Being smart about how much I crossed and when I crossed. You're not really scared to put them at too much memory because they can't use it to be explosive. They can only use it to set up more, which is fine. So I did end up taking that dub. Round 5, this was the potential last round because there was a pair down with one of the 3 undefeateds at this point. And I played Black War Greymon, which historically is not a great matchup for Cross, but game 1, I go real fast. I did establish a Cross 7 after he kind of got he had a not great stack, and then he had a good stack. I did establish Cross 7 when he had the good stack. It answered his board. He was a little surprised. I did win that game. Game 2, he had a really good stack off the bat, and I Cross 7 super early, but there was still back and forth. He was able to clear my tamers. You know, we played a good game. So I did end up winning 2-0, though. I feel like the matchup in the Black War Greymon now is a lot better than it used to be, circa like Nats last year. So I felt pretty comfortable with that. It did end around early because George was the pair down. He had a X11 and he got paired into one of the undefeateds, and he did win to end the event 1 round early. We went into top 8. We played 1 round of top 8. I did play a Hunters player who was, I think at the time, 3rd place. He was in the finals against Chris playing Shine. And I did end up losing a very close set of 3 where in Game 3, he just turboed into Quartzmon as quickly as possible with OG Psychmon on the field. He was running OG Psychmon, which I have answers for. I had answers for the Quartzmon too, if I could have X7, but once he established the Psychmon in conjunction with the Quartzmon, he just never let me get to 4 memory, because I would have happily put him at 10 to answer the Quartzmon. I had so many tamers established that game so early, but he like turned 3 or forward that Quartz and just did a really good job of slowing me down from answering it. By the time I could answer it, it was too late. The disadvantage was too great. So I did lose in top 8. Ended up 6th place. Top 4 split. Top 8 got a little bit of a payout. It was a 1K, so that was really cool. Overall, fun time. I think this deck performs really well. I think if you want to play a deck that people forget how to play against, forget why it's potent, this is probably the most aggressive deck you could play. It's very rewarding. There's a lot of lines of play that just feel good, that you don't like necessarily think about all the time. Omni Shout evolving to pop 2 things came up a lot. Just evolving into Cross 5 for like a security plus and getting the reboot or whatever back. Just like evolving over, like, man, there were times where I'd evolve over whatever rookie and do a king version to play a Taiki for free, but I'd use the other Taiki to put a Sparrowmon under it, and then I'd evolve into Cross 5, swing with security plus, reboot because I had the Sparrowmon under it. Super cool. Zeeg came up a lot with the unsuspend to swing for game, just on a following turn or a turn where they didn't, think that I had it. I had to evolve into Shoutmon Cross 7 once or twice in the event, but playing him for even 6, killing something with all these effects is really good. Star Sword really earned his place. I've been a vocal hater of him in the past, but he really came up. Even just, there was one game where just evolving him in the back for 1 choked the opponent at 1 and gave me a rookie for the next turn, and that was really beneficial for me. There are definitely different ways you could play the deck. You can drop these if you don't care about it. You can probably drop this. Like, there's a world where you go down to like one of these, maybe keep 2 in to see if you hit it. You can drop all of these to kind of put in whatever other engine you want. I would stick with at least the 12 tamers, so maybe 2 Zenjiros. Maybe you try the Blue Flare Duo Tamer, because that lets you go into this top end pretty easily, from the trash, not having to worry about having it under your other tamers. You can run a Memory Tamer, whether that's Kiriha or Tai from BT1, to give a lot of your crosses Sec +1, because they're all secondary red. There's just a lot of options, but I do feel like aggressive decks that kind of play outside of the box, I really do recommend Crossheart. I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I'm excited to kind of retire it for this season. I don't think I'll ever truly retire. It's my favorite deck type. It always has been. I'm a big Shoutmon fan. As shoutouts to Captain Cinnabon for the memory marker. But yeah. Other than that, I know you guys have been asking about it. I've been putting so many videos about this because I've been playing it at locals. It isn't quite top tier. It isn't meta, but it is rewarding. It is fun, and it can compete. And I think I've really shown that not only at locals with all the really great competition I have in my locals, but now at a bigger event, TCG Con 1K. Real quick, just shout outs for the 1K to all of my locals and other friends who did also top. Congrats to George for coming top 8. Congrats to Danny McNally for coming top 8. Congrats to Chris Pear for coming first in Swiss and also top 8. Those 3 all on Luxury Gaming. Great players. Chris, we play test all the time. He plays in GFGs. Danny and George are local. Congrats to Dan Verdes, who's a local, who top 8'd. Just a good time, man. And thank you to everyone who said hi, said you liked the content, recognized me, and said what's up. I gave out some dice, shook some hands. Yeah, TCGCon was a lot of fun. I wish I could have stayed for the second day, but I had to go home, get back to work. You guys know how it is. But I hope you guys enjoyed the deck list. I kind of rambled on a little bit, trying to keep it around the 20-minute mark. But here it is. If you fast forwarded to this point, you're welcome. Anyway, I love you guys. Stay true to yourselves. Be kind to each other. Be kind to yourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.